What's up, YouTube? This is Justin with Grinded Out Fishing. First of all, let me tell you thanks for clicking on the video. Today what we're going to be talking about is this kayak right here behind me. It's the Hoodoo Tempest 120P. I've owned the kayak for about 2 years. I fish primarily in saltwater, but what we're going to do is compare it to some other pedal drive kayaks, and I'll give you the pros and cons from my point of view. And hopefully by the end of the video, you'll know if this kayak is right for you or not. Let's get started. All right, so the first thing we'll talk about are the pros. First things first, what most people are concerned about, including myself, is gonna be price when it comes to buying anything. This compared to other name brand pedal drive kayaks is definitely a better bargain price-wise. So this kayak retails for around, I believe, $1,500. I'll put the exact price up on the screen before taxes, and that includes the kayak and the pedal drive. This is actually what they call the hybrid version. I bought this and then bought the pedal drive later on. So this is like the first generation Tempest, and they have the newest Tempest 120P that comes with the pedal drive. The hull is a different style. So this is, if you look it up on their website, this is the Tempest 120 hybrid. So you buy the kayak and you actually have to buy this steering rudder system separately and the pedal drive separately. But if you look it up on the website, it's the Tempest 120 hybrid, but it retails for around 1,500 bucks. The other comparable kayaks, say like an Old Town PDL 120 or a Bonafide P127, they retail around $2,700 to $3,000 before taxes. The next thing is going to be the weight of the kayak, and this is something that's important to me. I don't want to have to, I mean, the lighter the kayak, the better in a sense, right? So according to their website, I haven't actually weighed it. According to the Hoodoo website, this kayak dry, and that means without the seat and the pedal drive, weighs around 62 pounds. The other kayaks, I believe, weigh from 85 pounds on up, and I'll put the actual weights right here on the screen for you, so you can see those. And so of course it is a lighter kayak, but that does come with a cost, and I'll talk about that later in the video on the cons portion of the video. So the third thing is going to be the speed of the kayak. This has a pedal drive, bicycle style pedal drive. It's fairly easy to pedal, literally just like a bicycle. I'm in moderate shape, I guess you would say. I don't do a bunch of strenuous physical activity, but I'm in decent shape, and at just a regular easy pace that I can actually pedal for miles at, I can pedal around 3 miles per hour. If I try harder, I can probably pedal around 4 to 5, but I burn out pretty quickly and my legs start burning where I have to slow down. So I would say at a moderate pace, just cruising, just regular steady pace pedaling, it's around 3 miles an hour, and I feel like that's pretty good. All right, so the fourth thing that I would say is a pro is the seat comfortability. I've had back problems in the past due to like a car wreck, and man, I can sit in this seat, and I think it's because it has like this is almost kind of like a lumbar support right here in the bottom, and I can sit in this seat for 5, 6, 7 hours and my back not hurt. When I get out, I'm a little stiff because I've been sitting for 6 hours or more, you know, but as far as like comfort when just sitting in it and cruising around all day, I feel like it has a great seat comfort versus like I've demoed a Hobie. It wasn't a Outback. It was I guess it was a Passport, and I'm not sure if they have the same seats or not, but man, I don't know what was up with that seat. I don't know if it was too low to the kayak or what, but I only pedaled around in it for like an hour and my back was killing me afterwards. And as far as that go, everybody's different, but in my opinion, this seat is pretty darn comfortable. Yeah, and so for reference on the seat comfortability, I'm about 5'10", I weigh about 185. So I would definitely take that into consideration. The next thing that I would consider a pro is gonna be the storage. I mean, it's not like awesome. It's pretty decent for the size of kayak, in my opinion. It's got this little hatch here with a little insert, but mind you, if you put anything in here, if water does get in the hull, it'll soak. It can soak right through this little fabric. So just keep that in mind. If you put anything in here that can't get wet, then just make sure it's in a dry bag. But I use this pretty regularly. As far as the room on the actual kayak part here, it's a little tight. When you have the drive down and have this over the top, it's not too bad. It's got this little storage area. It comes with a lid here, but I don't use it. I actually use like an Engel dry box, and it fits right in there. I put all my tackle and stuff in there. I can make another video on how I have the kayak rigged if you'd like. Just let me know in the comments down below. This storage area is pretty nice. I put my little milk crate with my rod holders, all that good stuff. I have like a small cooler bag. It fits back here. Works out pretty good. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the stability of this kayak. For the size and the width of it, I believe it's 33, maybe 34 inches. I can put that up on the screen to make it official. It took me a little bit to get used to it, but man, I can stand up and sight cast out of this thing with no problem. Even in like, I don't know, probably like, I don't stand up in more than like 10-mile-an-hour wind, 10 to 12 maybe. Any higher than that, it definitely gets sketchy. But I can stand up in 10-mile-an-hour wind pretty easily and sight cast all day. So the stability is really good. But don't get confused with the second generation Tempest 120p. I've never personally had it, but I've talked to a couple people, and the whole design is a little bit different, and they did not like it at all for stability. They said it was very tippy, just not near as stable as this model. And if you have any questions about that, if you're considering buying one of these, you want to make sure you get this model, just comment below and ask me any questions, and I'll help. I'll send you any information that you need. Okay, now let's start with the cons. Biggest one for me is the steering. The steering on this thing sucks, especially for this model. It doesn't come with this originally. You buy this separately, which this is pretty decent quality. The original steering that comes on this, don't rely on it at all. It's trash. But I got this, and they give you a little kit with some cable to run back here to the rudder, and you can kind of see I have it jerry rigged up, and I'm going to fix that later today. But with the original little wings that come off of here, if you attach the cables to those wings, you don't really get much. Like, your turning radius is pretty terrible. So what I did is I just hacksawed them off and drilled some holes, so the turning radius is a little bit better. But with this rudder, if you look at it, it's not very wide. It just doesn't work very well. Like, when I have to try to make a sharp turn, I'll turn that way and lean the kayak and try to, you know, make a sharper turn. But a lot of times I have to pull my paddle out and use it to turn the kayak around, which is fine. But what I'm thinking about doing is trying to find a similar rudder, and I think Boondocks makes one that will fit in here, that's just wider, because it needs a little bit more drag for turning. And so, like I said, that's my biggest pet peeve. This works per se, but man, it definitely could be improved by a lot. Or the next con that is you definitely should be concerned about, especially if you're a bigger dude. Like I said, I'm about 5'10", I weigh 185, so this is not a huge concern for me. And I probably pack a little heavier than most for people on kayaks, but it handles it just fine. Is the weight capacity on here. Because I guess it's because of, I don't know if it's because of the thickness of the plastic or what have you, but like I talked about earlier in the video, with this being really lightweight, the plastic is pretty thin. Like, it flexes a little bit, and it's just not as dense and as sturdy as some of the other kayak brands, especially like Old Town. Old Towns are built like a tank. This thing is just a little bit flimsy, but it's quite a bit lighter. So it's a kind of a give and take thing. But yeah, back to the weight capacity. The weight capacity on this thing is only 350 pounds. And so I probably wouldn't recommend putting 350 pounds on it. I'd probably shoot a little under that. But compared to the other kayaks like the Old Town PDL 120, it has a weight capacity of 500 pounds. And then the Bonafide P127 has a weight capacity of 475 pounds. So that's significantly more than this kayak. And that, from my understanding, includes, you know, the seat, the drive, and anything else you add to the kayak. The next con is going to be these rod holders right here. Yeah, these rod holders are not the greatest. Luckily, I have some on my milk crate, and I just use those exclusively because I used these when I first got the kayak. And then of course I use this one I have on a gear track up here. The thing I do not like about these is, especially for this one on this side, is yeah, they work. You can put rod in there, but if you're going through any rough waters, it's kind of choppy and the water is splashing up on the kayak, your reel is right here. So it's getting all, you know, splashing all over your reel. And then also luckily I was only in about a foot of water, but I had my paddle right here and a rod right here, and the handle is sticking out. And when I pull my paddle off, boop, the rod went into the water and completely dunked the reel. So that was not fun. Luckily, it was only about a foot of water. I just picked the rod back up, but if it was any deeper, I may have just completely lost the rod. Another thing is, I don't know, I wouldn't consider it a pro or a con, but just the gear tracks just got two up here, and then I guess you could attach some where the seat is, but I kind of wish there was some in the back, and I know you can add them, but I just wish it would have came with more. Another thing that's a con, in my opinion, it doesn't affect me as much because I don't remove the seat anymore because of this. But man, if you're supposed to take the seat off, I've been told you're supposed to take your seat off of your kayak every time you transport it. But with the way this is designed and how you get this seat on and off, I can't stand it. So I just leave it on. I put the seat down and just strap it down really good. I've been traveling with it like this for 2 years and no problems. But getting the seat on and off is a pain in the neck. These tracks don't line up very well. Like I guess they're kind of squished together. You have to stretch the kayak basically to get these things in there. So that would definitely be a con. Another con I would say is the seat or the components on the kayak as a whole, like these little things. I've had to replace these before. What else? Any of these little, I don't know what you call them, connectors or brackets here. When you get the kayak, make sure to tighten all those up because they're going to be loose. But yeah, the seat, I mean the components, like this thing right here is metal, but it's made out of, like, I guess probably cast, and it is not very durable. I ended up breaking both of them. As you can see, I have it tied together right here. I need to figure out a better fix for that. But yeah, they're terrible, and they sell them on the website, so you can just order them or replace them. But I mean, if it's the same exact type of component, I'm not going to order that. And I did order these. I'm going to come up with something different to secure the seat and make it where I can still adjust it and things like that. So my conclusion on this is I would recommend this kayak to anyone looking at getting into kayak fishing. I really do think it's a good kayak. All right, so I'll do a quick recap of all the pros in no particular order. You got the price, the weight of the kayak, the stability, the seat comfort, the storage, and the speed. And for the cons, you get the steering, the plastic quality, the component quality, the built-in rod holders, the weight capacity. And this is one I didn't mention in the video, but it holds water that comes up through the scupper holes where your feet are. And so I always just like to keep the scupper holes in. That's just a personal preference. All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to do it. Appreciate you watching the video. If you have any questions, any comments, anything you'd like to know, questions about anything about the kayak, please leave them down below in the comments. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.